Welcome into our top 16 seed reveal special alongside Rebecca Lobo and Coach Andy Landers. I'm Kelsey Riggs. Hard to believe that the regular season is coming to an end. Selection Monday just over 2 weeks away. So right now we have a final look at the NCAA Tournament Committee's top 16. The last time we'll really see what they're thinking before we actually see all of the seeding on March 16th. Rebecca, when you look at what we've seen so far this season and heading into this top 16 reveal, what are you looking forward to really finding out today?
Well, what we've seen a lot this year is upsets, and we've seen them multiple times every weekend. So I'm just interested to see in the last 2 weeks some of those upsets that we've seen, how they've impacted the NCAA committee's thinking.
Coach, there were a couple surprises last time when we saw the first seeding 2 weeks ago. What are you looking for today?
Well, I'm looking to see one of those surprises. Will Baylor move up? I think maybe they should. But I'm also curious to see how they rank the ones and the twos. This is a year, as Rebecca said, where there's no dominant team, and I'm anxious to see how the committee feels about this field.
Sounds like we should do it if everybody's ready. Let's take a look at the top 16. Important to note that what you're seeing now is a reflection of games before today. So today's games are not a part of this top 16. Charlie Cream will help us break that down in just a little while. You see Arkansas there. They're number 16 seed. They were not in the top 16 last time, so they enter. A number 4 seed would be the best since 1991 when they were a number 3 seed. Oregon, important note, they're down 4 spots from the last reveal. We'll get into Oregon and what's going on with that team lately in just a little while. Plus Kentucky, they've moved up 2 spots to number 14, and Tennessee staying right where they were last time at a number 13 overall. Those are your top 4, your 4 seeds in the tournament. Let's take a look at the 3 seeds. According to the tournament committee, you've got Indiana up 3 spots right now to number 12. They have never been higher than a number 6 seed. Georgia moved up 1. They just beat Florida today, but of course that game not factoring into the decision. UCLA, they were 9 last time. Now they are 10 according to the committee. A number 3 seed would match its highest seeding in program history. And you're probably noticing Louisville. They're a number 9 seed. They have the largest drop out of any of the teams in the top 16, down 5 spots from our first reveal 2 weeks ago. We will talk about the Cards and what got them there and where we think they should be in just a second. A look at the number 2 seeds now. Starting at number 8, the reigning national champs from 2019, Baylor, up 2 spots. They are now a number 2 seed according to the committee. And Arizona, seeking its first NCAA tournament appearance since 2005. They are also in that grouping to be a number 2 seed, as is Maryland, up 1 spot from the last bracket that we saw. NC State moving up 1 as well, seeking to be a number 2 seed for the first time since 1991. A lot to get to with the Wolfpack. The number 1 seeds, UConn, you see, still number 1 overall, 20-1 this season. They have been a number 1 seed 21 times, seeking to be a number 1 seed for the 22nd time, which would tie the most all time. You've got Stanford at number 2 overall, Texas A&M at number 3 overall, and South Carolina, they fall down 2 spots. They were the number 2 last time. Right now, they are the number 4 overall seed, a number 1 seed according to the committee in the tournament. Now, Rebecca, when we look at those, one of the things that I mentioned that we definitely want to get into is Louisville and the drop that we saw from them. They're down 5 spots to where we saw the committee have them 2 weeks ago. We know that they did just lose to an unranked Florida State, but what was your reaction?
That was the biggest surprise to me, that they dropped as far as they did. And of course, remember, this reveal does not reflect games of today.
Sure.
If it did, Louisville's place with Arizona might be switched. But so we asked the question, why did they drop so much? And the committee talked about Louisville only having one top 25 net win, talked about their strength of schedule as it related to Arizona being much lower. What's interesting to me is I think Louisville in this case is sort of a casualty of the COVID schedule. Louisville was supposed to play UConn in Connecticut early in the season, lost that game because of of COVID within the Connecticut program. Jeff Walz was very active out there trying to find top-level opponents that he could play. So this is a situation where their strength of schedule isn't where they wanted it to be, but that's a direct result of the COVID situation that the teams are in this year.
That's a great point there, Rebecca. So they dropped 5 spots. Coach, another team that dropped a lot was Oregon, down 4 spots from the last reveal. They're having a tough time right now in the last couple of games. What do you see with this Oregon team and where they are?
Well, I wonder if Oregon really at this point belongs in the top 16. This is a team that is 0-6 against Stanford, Arizona, and UCLA. They do not have a win versus a net top 25 caliber team. So I'm wondering now, and they haven't played well lately, so they don't meet that criteria. So I'm wondering now exactly where Oregon fits into this group.
Oregon 6-6 since the calendar flipped to this year. They were 7-0 prior to that. Let's bring in Charlie Cream now here to help us make sense of it all. And Charlie, one of the teams that I want to ask you about is Baylor, because from the last time we saw the committee's top 16 to now, Baylor has moved up, and I'm sure that's something that you probably agree with.
I do, and I've mentioned before, I felt Baylor should have been on the 2 line even prior to the first reveal. And now I guess if you want to say a wrong has been righted, but it's mostly due to Baylor's play. I mean, they've won 11 in a row, all of those wins by double digits. They've gone back to doing what they have done over the last few years, which is dominate the Big 12. And I think they're certainly worthy of a 2 seed. I think you could even make the argument, if we're just talking about pure basketball and who matches up with whom and who could beat whom, I think Baylor is certainly one of those teams that's on the 2 line that could beat anybody that's currently on the 1 line. And we've alluded to the fact that this is just a more balanced season, that no team is absolutely dominant or perfect. Everybody's got some flaws. I think Baylor falls into that category of teams that could win a national championship.
Baylor now number 8 overall, according to the committee, a number 2 seed. Just above them, Charlie, is Arizona, also a number 2 seed at number 7. Now, we've mentioned a couple of times, of course, that this top 16 does not reflect the games today, and we just saw Arizona lose to an unranked Arizona State team in overtime today. So what do you think about Arizona, and how will that factor in going forward?
Well, I think Arizona obviously has to fall back to the 3 line, but only to the 3 line. But in fairness, Arizona has not played particularly well very recently. They struggled with Cal. They were beaten pretty soundly by Stanford. They lose today to Arizona State. I think Arizona is one of those teams that's kind of moving in a little bit of the wrong direction. And I don't think there's a real great case after today's loss that they could be anything higher than a 3 seed. Be interesting to see how they bounce back and perform in the Pac-12 tournament. But right now, certainly not a 2 seed. And I think what's really interesting about this year and a little bit of the craziness and maybe the more balance that we've seen. So we get this 16-team reveal from the committee, and already today 3 of those teams have lost, Arizona being one. It's just a more wide-open season.
It certainly is. Arizona looking for its first NCAA tournament appearance since 2005. We talked about number 8. We talked about number 7. Now, Rebecca, let's talk about who the committee has at number 6 right now, which is Maryland, a number 2 seed. When you look at this team, where they stack up, they moved up 1 seed for the committee from the last ranking.
Yeah, Maryland is a really dangerous team, especially on the offensive end of the floor. They lead the nation in points per game at just over 93. They lead the nation in 3-point field goal percentage at 42. They make just over 9 threes per game. But another part of the piece, or of the puzzle for Maryland that's really interesting to me, is they just added Angel Reese back to their lineup. This is the terrific freshman who's missed the last 2 months with a broken foot. Today against Northwestern, this is her 3rd game back. In their last game, she had 17 points and 9 rebounds. She is a big player who can score for them, who can rebound for them. A really balanced Maryland team that can score the basketball. Another piece back. I'm interested to see how she does throughout the course of the Big Ten tournament and how that might impact how the committee views Maryland.
Maryland in action right now playing Northwestern. They are up 4 at the half. Let's take a look at the number 1 overall team. That's UConn. Taking on Butler yesterday, under 3 to play in the second quarter. UConn up by 4. Paige Bueckers with the no-look pass to Avina Westbrook. had 14 assists, a single game program record for her, 10 seconds left. More from Paige Bueckers. Knocks down the three, UConn up big, and then 7 minutes left in the fourth. Let's get Paige Bueckers from the inside too. Why not? 20 points, 14 assists as UConn wins 20-14. As I mentioned, she had 20 points and 14 assists. As I mentioned, that is the most in a game in program history. Paige Bueckers, just a phenomenal freshman. And Rebecca, when you look at her and what she is able to do, I mean, how is she so successful?
Well, you know, she's the leader of that team right now. And what's impressed me was as the season has gone on and Coach Auriemma has challenged her to give him more every single time, she has been able to give him more. She's a pass first point guard, but Coach Auriemma said for our team to win, you need to look to score more. And she has been able to do that. But not just looking to score, this young woman has proven already in her freshman year to be one of the clutch players in women's college basketball. She averages 20 points a game, 55% from the field, but she has had big moments in UConn's biggest games. And she jumped on the national scene as a clutch player in this one. 28 seconds to go. UConn up 2. She had missed part of the late game because of injury. At this point, she was only 2 of 13 from the floor. Big moment, big shot. Huge for UConn to come away with the win at Tennessee. So their next big moment, number 2 UConn against number 1 South Carolina. Late in the game, UConn is down 2. Shot clock going down. The basketball is in Paige Bueckers' hands, hits the floater as she's going to the right baseline. Later on in that game, probably the biggest shot of her career to this point, overtime. Clock running down, UConn up 1. This shot, this bounce, this three-pointer seals the victory against South Carolina, gets UConn the number 1 ranking. This young player showing she knows how to step up in the biggest of big moments.
Paige Bueckers with 130 assists on the year. That is the most by a freshman in a single season in program history. Coach, how do you prepare for a player like Paige Bueckers?
Well, that's the challenge. You know, with a lot of players, really good players, they specialize in something. Maybe they're outside shooters, three-point shooters. They're good off of the bounce, or maybe they set the table for everyone else with the way that they pass. Paige Bueckers does it all, so you can't play her as a shooter, you know, because she'll put it on the floor and go by you, create for herself or create for one of her teammates. She's an excellent passer. She is the unselfish player that's really difficult to defend.
We have seen 4 different teams in the number 1 spot this year, but right now UConn's still holding strong. They have 1 game left in the regular season on Monday. So let's take a look, final look right now at your top seeds by region. And this is an important note too, guys, because obviously a different year being held with the tournament in San Antonio. We got the names of the regions. We have the Alamo, we have the Riverwalk, we have the Hemisphere, and we have the Mercado. The committee said they wanted to showcase the cultural heritage of the host city of San Antonio, which we will see the tournament all starting there March 21st with the first round Final Four, April 2nd and 4th, as you take a look at the top 16 and where the tournament committee has them right now.